Hey, it's Ryan from Upfit Supply, and in this video we're going to be installing a Vantech H2.1 cargo style rack on our Ram ProMaster City. Let's go. Okay, for the first part of this installation involves some assembly basically off of the vehicle or on the floor. And what you're gonna make sure that you do is put down some carpet or cardboard or something so you're not gonna scratch up this rack as you're assembling it. Now you're gonna see some footage from another video that we did of installing this on a Transit Connect. The assembly portion is exactly the same for the ProMaster City. So we're gonna go through that and then we'll catch up here and put it on the actual Ram ProMaster City. So the first thing that we need to do is install our rubber bar guards on our 6 crossbars. Now to put these in, you can just use your thumb and push them into the slot, or I have a little trick. I like to use a little piece of PVC. Maybe you've got a dowel or a 2x4 or something like that. You can just kind of roll them in place. So now that we have our rubber bar guards in place, we're going to mount 4 of these to our side cargo rails, and it's going to go in this first location here. Then we're going to skip a set of 2 holes for the next one. So we're gonna go every other 1, 2, 3, 4. And the channel is actually on the outside. So we're gonna go through with our button head Allen screws and screw those in now. Now you may see I'm using an impact, but I'm going very light on this. I'm gonna make sure I'm not cross-threading. I'm gonna hand thread them first and then just save some time by zipping them in. So if you decide to go this route, just be very careful. Okay, next we're gonna be flipping this over and we're gonna be attaching the tracks to the bottom of this rack. And with this flipped over, we're gonna take our little slider bolts like this, and we're going to slide them into these slots on each of the crossbars. And then we're going to take our little channels here for our mounting rails, and the channel is gonna face outward. It's gonna face like this. And then this is the front. We're going to line these holes up with each of those bolts, and then we're going to add a washer, a lock washer, and a nut, and just loosely put these on. Do not tighten them all the way yet. Now that we got this hardware on here just tight enough so that the stuff doesn't fall off, we're going to flip it back over and we're going to put our front, our E crossbar mount on the front. And for this, we're gonna need our tubular pieces in the kit. We have one little round crossbar. We've got these little guys, and then we've got our corner pieces here. So we're just gonna do a dry fit first. You know, this is the top of the rack. It slopes downward like this. Just slide everything into place first, this side. And then we'll do our corner pieces into the crossbar. These should go into place relatively easy, but if you need some help, you can use a rubber mallet and push them into place. Now that we have this attached, we need to secure it using some self-threading screws, which are included in the kit. There are pre-drilled holes in a couple locations. There's 2 kind of on the front of this piece here, and there's 2 which you want to rotate this so it's on the back side of this bar. And same thing on the other side. Now because we have the long wheelbase, we actually have these little extensions. This is basically the 15 inches or whatever between the long and the short wheelbase that we have 2 extra crossbars we need to attach to this. Now, this is our forward side. This is our rear side. On the rear side, we want to connect this 2 holes into these 2 holes. On the front side, we're just going to do the back side of this into this first hole right here. So we're going to use the same button head Allen screws to attach this. Now we're going to do essentially the same thing by flipping this over and again mounting our channels facing outward, and we want to use this middle hole for the forward channel. And then just like we did with the forward part of the rack, we're gonna flip this over so we're sitting on these channels. And then we're gonna attach our rear mount, which for us is this roller bar. And for the roller bar, you want these little white washers, the bigger side facing inwards, and then they mount downwards like this. But before we slide them in, we actually need to attach the roller bar to these end mounts. It's pretty simple. You slide it through, and then there is a little pin like this that you slide through, which keeps the roller from sliding out. Now, there is no exact specification for how far in or out these should be. As you can see, it can get super close like this, or you have quite a bit of room to pull it out. Now for me, I kind of want to wait until it's on the van so I can know how it's going to sit with our rear liftgate door and all of that. So I'm actually not going to attach it with the self-threading screws yet, but I will do that once we get back on top of the van. Now we're going to lift each section on top of the van, and then we actually put each section on top of the van, connect the sections together, then we put in our mounts and secure it to that. So we're gonna do that next. The first thing I'm gonna do before we put this on the vehicle is put a moving blanket on top of the van so I'm not gonna be scratching it up as we lift it into place. Okay, for our next step, we're going to be joining the two sections together, and there's two pieces that you need for that. You need these little plastic inserts that are gonna go into each of these tubes, and then you're gonna need this little, almost looks like a hinge. You wanna loosen it a little bit so there's some play in there. Basically, this is gonna mount to the side. See, there's two holes here, two holes here. It's gonna go into there, and we're gonna suck these two in together by rotating these bolts on the inside. So this actually mounts on the inside, and then we're gonna pull this together. So this is just one of these short button head screws. It's got an Allen head on it, lock washer, washer. Then we're gonna go through, and it threads right into this plate. Now before you tighten this, you know we have one of our crossbars is not connected to this channel yet. And so you're gonna wanna get that lined up and put your bolt in there before you tighten this too much, or else you're gonna have a hard time getting that in there. Now before I tighten these bolts, they're gonna suck these two sections together. I wanna make sure that I've got alignment on this bottom crossbar here that I left disconnected. Put a screw through here, tighten this up, get it nice and tight before tightening up that bolt. Next, we're going to slide our feet into these channels. You notice that I do have them on already, but I just want to show you quickly how this is done. You're going to use these two longer slider bolts like this that line up the holes on the feet. Take some washer, lock washer, and a nut. And I just attached it to this foot as loosely as possible. I think the instructions call for put the slider bolt in first, then get the foot in there. I found it's easy enough just to get this loosely assembled right here, and then we're going to slide it into this channel. We're gonna do the same thing for all four corners. The thing I love about this kit is there's so much adjustment in so many different areas. We're just gonna get that lined up. And we really wanna leave all four corners super loose for right now because we're gonna do our alignment. We want everything nice and loose. And next we wanna take our little plastic spacers like this, and they may or may not already have these gaskets in here, but basically they're gonna go on the left and the right side, 2 per plastic. We'll push these in here, and then we'll get our bolts and washers and everything to put these into the mounting points on the ProMaster City. So this is the pattern on how you want to connect it to the van. You got your bolt, you're going to go through a lock washer, then a washer, then a foam washer, then we're going to go through the foot into the mounting point on the van. So I just need to expose that here. And again, we're going to do an alignment later, so everything doesn't have to be 100% lined up. Okay, we're doing the same thing on the rear. Again, I'm not gonna get these super tight, but just tight enough to keep it in place so they don't get ripped around. So as you've installed this, it's probably like ours is all wonky, it's not straight on the roof. So what I like to do is take a tape measure, take measurements of different areas of you know, how far away from the edge this foot is, that one is, and so on, to get it all aligned. And once you get everything aligned, you're gonna go through and tighten everything down. I like to do from top to bottom, so we'll start with these slider bolts that are in the channels of the crossbars to these, then we'll attach or tighten up from these silver channels to the feet, then the feet to the roof finally, so that everything's nice and tight. So we're gonna do that right now. Now, in the assembly portion of the video, I talked about how this rear roller bar, I wanted to wait until it was on the vehicle before I secured it, because I wanted to see where it would line up with the door. In that case, it was the Transit Connect. But here, I also want to make sure that it is out far enough so that when I do lean a ladder up against it, I don't accidentally hit the back door. And, you know, I have this out pretty much as far as it can go, and I need to go back a little bit more. And that's the great thing about this ladder rack, is I have room up here. I've got like, what, 4 inches I can go back right here and then support it here. I'm kind of at the tail end of this track back here anyways. So that's the nice thing about this kit, is there is so much adjustment that you can do to it to make it fit your needs. It also does make it challenging. I think the most challenging part of this installation is aligning it and getting everything straight how you want it. So that can just be the most challenging part, but it is super versatile and you can make it work for your particular trade or whatever you're going to use it for. And that just about does it for the installation of this Vantech H2.1 cargo style ladder rack on our Ram ProMaster City. If you're looking for this rack or any other equipment to upfit your vans so that it's work ready, be sure to check us out at upfitsupply.com. Again, my name is Ryan, and have a good one.